Hello, it's Doug from Behind Closed Doors, and today I'm going to be looking at mystery.
The New York Times called my next guest one of the most admired men in the world of seduction. He calls himself the greatest pickup artist of all time, and the season finale of his VH1 show, The Pickup Artist, airs this Monday. Please welcome Mystery.
Thanks for having me back.
Nice to have you. I was worried my suit jacket didn't fit. You're wearing goggles.
People think that the clothing I wear is completely outrageous, but this is New York City.
Yeah.
I saw a guy...
Clothing that he wears is completely outrageous, and it's that way for a reason. He calls it peacocking, and it's in order to draw attention to him so that people will come up and ask him questions about what he's wearing and start essentially what he calls opening a set. Like, he gets opened by people. So yeah, it is that way, and it's meant to be that way on purpose.
I saw a guy outside in a tutu.
Now, he said he just saw a guy outside in a tutu. I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. That might be one of his stories. There's certain stories that you tell, whether they're true or not, in order to elicit a conversation.
Yeah, he
And a
works for us.
sombrero.
That's a producer for our show. I'm curious. No, what I'm curious about is there's a method to your. It's not madness, but there's a method to it.
No doubt.
Last time you were on the show, you were wearing giant goggles. This time you have sort of a, I don't know, there's a welding.
Well, someone stole my Harry Potter Quidditch goggles.
Right. So
I
you
want them back.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
You see how he already has a comeback for everything. Oh, there's a guy outside in a tutu. Oh, it's Harry Potter. All this, that. Because people give typical responses, so he has comebacks for those. Mystery used to be a magician, and I think he may still even be performing magician. And I used to be a magician, and every now and then I'll still perform. So when you perform as a magician and you go around, you meet lots of people and you do tricks, and people say the same stereotypical things over. So you develop comebacks so that you're ready for them to say what they're going to say, and then you come back with what you're going to say. Everything's very predictable.
work.
Maybe it's the guy that stole my camera.
Yeah, he's got a camera. Yeah. Did he leave anything behind?
Check his MySpace page.
So you've got
Back in the day when people had MySpace.
you've got black nails.
Yeah.
You've got a ring with an eyeball on it. This is all tricks to get women to initiate conversation. Is that right?
That's exactly it. If, for instance, there's a group of people that I would like to initiate the chat with, wearing this is great because, to me, grabbing this and pulling it feels like pulling a ripcord. I'm about to go in.
Right. Right.
And now that this is like this, I can go in and say, hey, are you dexterous? Could you tie that for me? Would you
Are
mind?
you coming on to me now? Is
Hey,
that
none of that now. Slow this
Oh.
down.
So wait,
And as
so-
you're tying it, I then
okay.
get to say that, and this is true, a girlfriend of mine in Miami when I lived there made that for me. Isn't that lovely?
Okay.
A heart and all that.
So you've just given a subliminal message that I've had girlfriends
That
before, and I
have
will have
women in my
girlfriends
life,
again.
As opposed to opening with, boy, was I drunk last night. Oh, right? You get to go in.
I wish you had
already
talked to me
demonstrating
a
higher
long
value.
time ago. That was
You see, that's one extreme to the other, and I think that the commonplace advice for people when they're looking at going out and dating is just be yourself. And it's the most unhelpful piece of advice. Whether it's true or not is kind of irrelevant. Like, you can't actually use that. So there's, on the one end of the spectrum, there is just be yourself, and that should be enough. But ironically, if people have already been dating or they have trouble dating and they've just been themselves, that doesn't really help because it doesn't really solve their problem. And on the other end of the spectrum, you've got someone like Mystery that's come up with a load of tactics and manipulations and devices in order to be able to instigate and implement a strategic way of getting to meet people and getting them to comply with the outcome of having sex. So it's one extreme to the other. One is be yourself and you don't have to do anything, and the other one is that you have to go out your way to be something that you're not in order to draw attention to yourself.
my line. So you admit that you were rejected by women over and over and over again until you...
Why do you got to call it out like it is?
Well, this is inspirational. Inspirational. It's like telling people I used to be weak, you know.
And you know, Mystery, I believe his real name's Eric. I like Eric. He's got a really nice demeanor. He's very intelligent. He's got a lot of. He's very intuitive. He's a good artist. He's a tall guy. He's a decent-looking guy. He's got a lot of the attributes that would be attractive to women. So it's interesting how he feels like he has to put on all these other bits and bobs around him in order to initiate a social interaction.
Then they see me now. You were...
But you see, he's got a good sense of humour as well. It's not like he's going out and is naive about what he's doing. He's very socially aware of what he's doing, extraordinarily so. And I do actually respect Mystery. Like, it takes balls to put on that stuff and to go out and to perform. He's essentially performing to the world. But it's not the way that I'd like to do it myself, but even though I was a performer, because I feel it attracts people, but it doesn't necessarily seduce them.
You were rejected by so many women, and then you changed your game. Is that right?
I don't see it so much as rejection when the outcome is, you know, something completely independent of what I was after at the time. I wanted to initiate the chat and make some friends. I wasn't out to get the girl necessarily.
Well, I don't think that's true. I mean, and if you read his book, which I have, The Mystery Method, he talks about a lot of what I do actually, survival and reproduction of the gene. And he's very much aware of how important having a sexual relationship with somebody is. And that's the aim of the book, is to help initiate that. And he's acting like that's not true. It's just a case, I just want to go out and meet people. But like I say, he was, you know, you can go out and perform magic tricks and just meet people. You know, do you want to go out and entertain people, or do you want to go out and get an intimate relationship?
Right? So,
Right. Yeah.
No, for real.
Okay.
I didn't think that far ahead. You know, I was I was letting go of my outcome. Yeah. And
What was the outcome? This is what I'm saying. So I'm not sure. I don't think he's lying, but I don't think he's being 100% honest with his intentions.
And I learned a lot on how to open up a group of people you've never met before, how not to creep them out. Mm-hmm. That's important.
So,
And of course, everyone's laughing because, of course, he's dressing up bizarrely, which could creep people out.
you learned that it's all about seeing them, seeing the ladies, and getting a conversation started away. What's the best surefire opener you've found? Guys are always talking about, this is my opening line, I didn't know angels flew so low. That was mine.
Those are the stereotypical pickup lines.
They were. That's what I did. My other one was, my coffee doesn't have sugar in it. Care to put your finger in there and stir it up for me? And I was maced often.
I had a similar one.
You had a similar one?
I had a similar one with a girl. I tried on a girl once in a bar, and I tapped her on the shoulder, and I said, similar to yours, did you bruise your wings when you fell from heaven? And she turned around, and I realized that she'd landed on her face.
Here's the best opener that has worked quite a few times.
Best opener, okay.
Ready for this one?
Yeah, this is the best opener from Mystery. Okay, let's hear it.
Hi. Works very well.
Let's have sex.
All right, they're black nails, not pink. Let's slow this down.
So anyway, what I'm saying is, so you're saying just be honest, but you also like to have fun information for them.
I don't know if he's saying just be honest, because that's what the kind of thing that I don't like about it is that the whole thing is kind of trickery, it's manipulative, it's kind of dishonest. It's kind of what pickup artistry is known for. It's pickup art. I mean, for God's sake, it's what, like, people's initial kind of gut instincts of, oh, that doesn't sound right, and there are people that kind of justify it. But the more you kind of justify it, the more you kind of realise that it's kind of, it just leaves you feeling a bit icky, doesn't it? In the same way that a chat-up line does. A chat-up line is kind of socially inept, and that's the kind of ironic joke about it. And the same is true with the identity of a pickup artist. It's a bit like a chat-up line. It's the same kind of a thing. You go, it sounds a bit scammy, as opposed to just going up and meeting someone and getting to know someone and developing an intimate relationship naturally from there.
Right? You like to sort of bombard?
For sure. If you say one interesting thing, a person will say, well, that's interesting. But if you say 10 in a row, they'll say, you're interesting. It's no longer the material that gets the acclaim, but the person saying it.
The same is true with magicians. If you show somebody a trick, then they think, oh, that's a good trick. But if you do a series of good tricks, then you're a good magician, because you're a performer of many. You're a good performer of tricks. Again, I get what he's saying from a performer's perspective, because a lot of this is performing. And again, when you're in an intimate relationship, performing is the last thing on your mind, so to speak. It's sort of like you're not going out there to put on a show for somebody. You're going out there to get to know somebody and for them to get to know you. It's the exact kind of opposite.
Person saying it.
Okay.
Right.
Like, what's an interesting fact that you would say to them, or an interesting
Did you know
thing?
that fish cough?
Fish.
Yeah, I read that on the back of a Snapple cap. And then I discovered, if you go onto the internet, you discover that not all the Snapple fun facts are actually true. So now I've got cognitive dissonance. I don't know which ones are real, which ones aren't real, and I'm running through the world wondering, do fish cough? I don't know.
So you walk into a group of women wearing welding torch goggles, and you say, hey, do fish cough? And then it works out?
Yes, there's a method to the madness. See, if I'm initiating the chat that way, I'm not telegraphing interest, I'm not creeping anyone out, and, and most importantly, we as men do...
You see, like I said, I've read The Mystery Method, and I think it's a very good structure of how an interaction naturally plays out. But the way in which he kind of instigates it is very unnatural. So the Mystery Method, the actual structure of it from A to B, I really like, and I think it's a very good framework for somebody that's a bit socially unaware about how things operate in the world. It's a very good framework to understand how people interact with one another. But then the implementation of it, where it's coming out with all these goggles and these ties and these fingernail polish and all that kind of stuff, I think it's just a bit skewed. It might work in, like, say, a nightclub or something, because I know that he used to go around to, like, a lot of nightclubs and stuff. So it might work in a nightclubby kind of atmosphere in LA or New York or wherever he is. I think it might work there as a bit of kind of fun on a Saturday night or something like that. But I don't think in the real world it really serves a great deal of purpose. You can kind of just get rid of all that and still have the structure and actions. There's a lot to be learned from his structure about how interactions play out in the world. But, you know, in terms of the implementation, I'm not really a fan of it.
We know what it's like to be attracted to someone bigger and stronger than us. There was that one time,
There was this girl in college. Huge.
So if we can systematically initiate the chat with a conveyance of a non-threatening nature,
which
is... That's what that opener does.
What about the way you
We're on our way.
What about the way you physically approach a group of women? You have theories about that too. You don't just walk body language, and you don't just walk directly up to them. What do?
Oh, it's very important the way you approach a group. If you approach in a predatorial manner, straight for them, like a lion going after a zebra, it will threaten the zebra, and the zebra will start backing up. So how does a zebra or a horse? How does one horse meet another horse? They can't go predatorial in. They go in a circle. And so when you initiate the chat with a group of people, you don't go directly for them. Instead, you walk in a circle. And that way you're...
The way he's explaining it doesn't sound very good. I know what he means, and he's right to a certain degree, but also he's not right.
And that way you're shoulder to shoulder, as if it's you and the woman against the world rather than adversarially against each other.
Basically, what he's saying is, say if you're facing someone and you go up to it, you know, like when you walk closer and closer together, it become very uncomfortable. But sort of like there's kind of like, we all have sort of like a social distance that we have between each other. That's a bit too far away. That's a bit too close. We all kind of stand a certain length apart. Well, he's saying it the same thing in terms of facing each other. Like if you're facing that way and somebody comes up behind you, you're like, oh, and it kind of scares you. And the same way as if you charge for somebody directly, that's kind of what he's saying. They feel that charge coming up to you. Whereas if you're kind of standing side by side naturally with somebody, it feels more normal. It's what people do, you know, in train stations, at a bus stop, all that kind of thing. People stand side by side. They feel less threatened than if you're facing them at the front or behind, especially complete strangers. So there is relevance to what he's saying. He has got a point, but it's not as weird as it's coming across.
So you're circling them like a horse, is what you're saying. So you've got your pinwheel hat on, your fake beard, your boxing gloves, and you want to read through a Snapple cap, and you come at them and you're like, and you're circling them. Is that are you?
The idea is to be interesting, yeah,
Being
and
interesting.
not threaten their
Right.
their-
Well, it seems to be working for you. You have a TV show where you teach nerds,
eight lovable lonely.
8 lovable lonely
What
guys.
their dad never taught them.
Well, their dad never taught them what to put nail polish on.
Well, just curious. I'm taken, spoken for. But were I single, were I not married,
Right.
do I have attributes that you would say, oh, you could use that, you could use that, you could use that?
Instantly. I mean, you have 2 attributes going for you right away. For the open, and this is presuming it's a cold approach pickup and they don't already know who you are, your hair. Your hair. If I would make it bigger, I would make it more grand. I'd go crazy with it.
Really? Go big.
If it's possible. Yeah, exactly. So like really up. Okay. And even exactly. And
So this
even
is
if
a
a girl
subliminal-
doesn't like it, she'll at least come up to you if you're surrounded by a couple women, you're non-threatening, and say they don't like it.
Look at this.
That's cool.
What if I did this? Look at this. Look at this. I walk up to you, you're a beautiful woman, and I say, do fish cough?
I like the way that, I mean, I like this, it's funny.
Mind-blowing.
But
Mind-blowing.
you also have a gift of rapport. So once
yes.
you can get past the hair, you're gold.
Well, the season finale of The Pickup Artist airs Monday at 9 on VH1. If you want to learn more, go to explorehumanity.com. Always entertaining. Thank you so much.
It was entertaining. Right, okay, so that was Mystery. So yeah, I've read The Mystery Method. I think there's a lot of interesting ideas in there about like social dynamics and stuff like that. I think it's easy to take the piss out of it, but there are some interesting ideas. So yeah, good old Eric.